Elixir. I want to welcome you to our guest expert webinar series. Today's session will feature our Google Travel team as they dive into the travel trends and consumer behavior insights. So let's get started. Just a little bit about NetElixir. We've been around for 10 years now. We have 3 global offices with our headquarters located in Princeton, New Jersey. Our mission is to help digital marketers succeed online. We do this by providing webinars like this, white papers, tools, and resources. And we have a team that's been growing exponentially recently with millions of hours of hands-on retail search marketing experience. So here's our 3 business lines. As you can see, we do basically everything across the board for our clients regarding our digital services. We also have our own proprietary technology called LXR. Within this, it's LXR Marketplace, which we are proud to say has 55,000 users in 170 countries. And then we also have LXR SEO, primarily used for small businesses. We've been creating tools and a task manager to help them implement for their SEM campaigns. And if you're interested in that, you can find that at lxrseo.com. And then also we have our consulting services on those 3 lines of analytics, digital marketing strategy, and executive dashboard design. So a big focus for us here at NetElixir is to understand the intent behind every click. So what are the users thinking? What are they doing? What's really compelling them to click on an ad? So our data scientists have been analyzing all of the research, all of the data to humanize and really understand the human and the actual user behind every click. So here's a glimpse at our client list. We've had a pretty strong focus on retail, but we've recently gotten into the travel industry, as you can see with our great partners at hostels.com, hostelworld.com, and hostelbookers.com. One thing I do want to mention here at NetElixir, we do understand that no 2 businesses are alike. So we take the time to learn the individual details and nuances about our clients, about their business, and then we can create a customized strategy for each one. And that's what we believe really sets us apart. All right, so just a little bit about NetElixir University, launched in 2012 with a vision of democratizing the digital marketing industry through exceptional knowledge and expertise sharing. So one way we do this is through our webinars like this, and as I mentioned, our white papers also. So by the end of this year, we have a goal to share the best practices with 10,000 businesses worldwide. And if you're interested in staying up to date, learning about the newest trends and innovations within the digital marketing world, you can join our LinkedIn University page on LinkedIn. You can click just right within this page. So I want to introduce you now to our co-hosts, Jenna and Ting. Jenna is a marketing strategist on the Google Travel team. She specializes in consumer insights and marketing trends for the hotel and car rental categories, helping clients harness the power of digital and new technologies to engage their consumers. She came to Google from Ogilvy and Mather, where she worked as a strategic planner for some of the agency's top clients, as well as Ogilvy Earth, the sustainability practice. Jenna also loves to travel and is always on the lookout for the newest app or tech device. Ting is also part of the Google marketing strategy team. She advises Fortune 500 clients in travel and leisure on their digital marketing, ensuring strategy is aligned with consumer and market behavior. She looks at data and trends to understand how consumers research, book, and experience leisure and business travel. Success is getting clients to think differently about using digital to build modern brands. Before joining Google, she worked at creative agencies Saatchi & Saatchi and Harvest Worldwide, and account management and new business. And in her spare time, Ting Ting is also a Latin ballroom dancer. So now I'll pass it over to these two as they lead you through their insights on the travel trends and consumer behavior.
Hi, Kelly. Thanks for the introduction. Just want to make sure everyone can see our presentation before we get started. All right. So I'm Jenna. Thank you so much for having us here today. At Google, on the travel team, we spend all day, every day thinking about travel. So today we're going to take you through a few of the trends that have been on our minds lately. We like to break this up into two sections. First, the broad industry trends that every brand, whether you're a hotel, an online travel agency, an airline, a cruise company, etc., needs to know. Then we'll go through some of the more niche trends that are good to keep on the radar. I'm actually going to start this off by borrowing an opening I heard from a TED Talk another Googler gave. If you ask Google, you'll see that there are 78 organs in the human body, but it's time that we added a 79th, the mobile phone. 6 billion out of the 7 billion people on this planet have some sort of mobile device on them. It's more embedded in our lives than nearly anything else. And travelers are actually some of the most mobile people. Our industry is an early adopter sector in mobile e-commerce. In fact, it's the third largest sector in the US. We can see this when we look at consumer behavior. As of last month, 40% of travel queries on Google.com are coming from mobile devices. We know this might sound like a disconnect for some of you. We hear from clients that conversions on mobile are low and the bookings just aren't there yet. So it makes people wonder how important or big mobile actually is. And it makes sense. When you look at the funnel, and if you're just focused on that bottom rung, the bookings, then mobile might not seem that important yet. We know why you're focused there, heads in beds, that's what keeps your business going. But there's two things I have to say about that. The first is that the bookings are coming. When we look at the data, you can see that there's a tremendous shift in travel sales from desktop to mobile. And that trend is only going to continue to grow. It's easy to see why. Think about it. Our phones are always on us. We eat with them. We sleep with them. We check them constantly during our commutes all the time throughout our day, wherever we go. So it's only natural that everything we're used to doing online, we are increasingly doing on our phones, and maybe even more so. But the second thing I want to say on this point is that if you're thinking about mobile only as a booking channel, you're missing a huge opportunity. Let's go back to that picture of the funnel. We want you to start thinking about all of the interactions you can have with your customers before they even reach the booking stage. The big opportunity with mobile, we believe, is to provide the right experience, the right answers, and the right value throughout the entire customer journey, not just at the very end. So when consumers are first dreaming about their trips and talking to their friends to when they're actually planning them and then getting ready to book. Today we want to challenge you to think beyond booking to the total travel experience. And again, let's look at the consumer behavior. We know that travelers are using smartphones for much more than just booking, and all of these touch points are critical. As you can see on the left, nearly half of travelers browse destinations on their phones. This says to us that consumers are turning to their phones for inspiration long before they've even solidified their travel plans. And this pattern continues throughout the funnel. So we want you to think of mobile as a chance to provide a good customer experience, to make your brand relevant, and to eventually earn the booking, whether they complete it on their phones or on a different channel. And we see a lot of travel brands, especially in the hotel space, picking up on this. Airbnb is one of my favorite examples. They have an amazing mobile site. They revamped it at the end of last year to make it more engaging and provide a better user experience. Not only is it easy to browse listings and book, but it's a really helpful resource for trip planning and inspiration. You can explore destination content and curated lists of some of their most interesting properties. I really like this quote that comes from the director of a mobile development company, because if you have a good mobile experience, the bookings will follow. It's actually key to driving bookings. And then we see some hotels thinking about how mobile can actually enhance the travel experience after they've left for their vacations. Marriott's new app with mobile check-in and mobile checkout is a perfect example. They're taking away one of the pain points of the hotel stay, the slow check-in process, and making it easier and more convenient for travelers. They're also using their app to offer local deals and experimenting with ways to use this key consumer channel to better connect with their guests from their first interaction to beyond their vacations. I'm now going to pass it over to Ting to go through our next trend.
Thank you, Jenna. The second broad industry trend we like to cover is the fragmented, complex journey to purchase. There are a lot of activities that the average traveler does before they book. We do a quarterly study with Compete to look at the traveler's pathway to purchase. Think about how long it took you to book your last getaway. The average traveler does up to 8 travel sessions, visits 18 travel sites, and does 6 search clicks on travel-related terms before booking a hotel. The first thing this should tell anyone is the path to purchase is anything but linear. Even just within these 3 metrics, consumers are searching a lot and going to sites a lot. And this is only on one device and doesn't even consider touch points like video, social, and other highly influential contact points. As we know ourselves, when we're thinking about our next leisure trip, the fragmented journey can look something like this. The trigger could have been anything: a Facebook post, an ad they saw while reading something online, a YouTube video. And it's not so much a pathway as a gigantic, interwoven, messy web. Even when we look at people's search behavior before booking, there is unpredictability. This is a piece of research Google recently commissioned to show what kind of keywords and sites people search on and go to before ultimately booking. You can see it's all over the place. I'll take you through the sample query path. Somebody could start on a destination search, meaning any search that has a destination in the keyword, go to the Google Display Network to visit a site, go back to doing a destination search, then land on a brand, and then go more up the funnel and do a non-branded search. Finally, decide to visit a brand site, which takes them to YouTube where they watch a branded video piece of content. They start getting more serious about the research process. They research a competitor, which leads them to do another branded search, go to another or the same brand site they wanted before, and finally that conversion. It's an incredibly fragmented path to conversion involving many steps and considerations. What we also know is the role of video is increasing, as you can see in the search pathway I just took you through. We do an annual study called Traveler's Road to Decision, which tracks the role of video and YouTube year over year. This year showed that 67% watched a travel video on YouTube when thinking about taking a trip. It's increasingly becoming a trigger for travel. One way marketers are responding is by creating more inspirational pieces of content. Content that is exciting and entertaining, that says something about the brand, and positions the brand more upper funnel. Marriott recently did this exceptionally well with the launch of a mini heist film filmed on property at JW Marriott in LA called The Two Bellmen. They partner with YouTube creators, Substance Over Hype, and even had a red carpet premiere in LA, which helped elevate the brand status. They are truly investing in high-quality content. In fact, they're now doing a second film from their content studio called French Kiss, premiering May 19th. The head of their content studio, David Beebe, says, Marriott wants to be the largest publisher of lifestyle. We're going to be the Red Bull of this category. That's where we want to get to. You heard Jenna talk about the importance of mobile, and I just went through several of the reasons why online video is becoming more important. New research shows us that the two platforms are increasingly connected. 50% of global viewership on YouTube actually comes from mobile devices. And research is showing that 18 to 34-year-olds, which is a key demographic for many marketers, are twice more likely to be focused while watching video on mobile. The chart on this slide shows actions taken as a result of seeing branded content or ads on smartphones versus television. Just like with the introduction of the internet before it, mobile has had a huge impact on consumer behavior. Consumers are reaching for their phones to actively look for answers and increasingly to watch video. Mobile viewers are more likely than desktop or TV viewers to watch, share, and feel personally connected to ads, and they're seeking out branded content to help them make quick decisions. Mobile and video are becoming relationship-building platforms for brands. We've just covered two major broad trends. Now we like to look into two niche trends. Family travel is a trend that has been around for a long time, but new research shows it's a promising area for any marketer who cares about this type of traveler. A Google consumer survey done in the beginning of the year showed that 47% of people have taken a family trip or family vacation in the last year. Vacation rentals is also taking hold amongst this value-conscious target. 25% of family travelers have stayed in a vacation rental. VR is popular for this consumer segment because of the space and value it provides. Furthermore, most are undecided when planning family trips. Over a majority are either considering multiple possibilities or totally undecided about destinations and brands to book with. These are key moments for marketers to influence choice of destination or hotel and airline. It's a really great place to have attractive content on video and also mobile for all the reasons we said earlier about how they are platforms for dreaming and upper funnel engagement. I'll turn it over to Jenna to finish up with our last trend.
We're going to end with a trend where we are seeing the industry just starting to scratch the surface. And that's about using new technology to enhance the overall travel experience. Some of these products might seem a bit far off, but what's important is to understand how all of these new devices are changing not only consumer expectations, but also brand interactions. Starwood's new keyless entry is a great example. It goes a step beyond mobile check-in by actually turning your mobile phone into your room key. This can completely change the guest experience. And what's interesting is how it makes travel more on the terms of the traveler rather than the hotel. They also recently extended it to the Apple Watch to make check-in as seamless as possible. Wearables may not be mainstream yet, but Starwood is definitely not the only travel brand thinking this way. We even see some brands going a bit more futuristic with virtual reality. Some of you have likely heard of Cardboard, or maybe you've even had a chance to use one. It's a new portable virtual reality device Google released last year that works with your smartphone, and we're already seeing brands incorporating it into their marketing. It's especially interesting for the travel space. One of the biggest hurdles to purchase in travel is that you can't actually try on the product before you buy it. But virtual reality can help change that. Virgin Holidays did a great execution with Cardboard last year around the holiday season. In their stores, they had Cardboard set up for consumers to actually try on and see the types of vacations that they could be taking before they would purchase it. And this is just the very beginning. So that's some of what's been on our minds lately. Thank you so much for spending the time with us today. To hear more from us as well as other Google travel experts, please make sure to follow us on social media and visit our website. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jenna and Ting Ting, for those exceptional insights. We do have time for a few questions. So let me start with the first one that came through. What travel category is the fastest growing on Google.com?
So this is a question that we get asked a lot. Travel is growing across the board, across most of our subcategories, which is something you're likely noticing. Especially in the US, it's a great time to be a travel brand. But we do see that vacation rentals, which Ting Ting talked a bit about, is the fastest growing category year over year in terms of query growth. This suggests to us that more and more travelers are looking for more interesting and different lodging options. And we also think it's a key reason that hotel brands in particular need to differentiate their offering.
All right, the second question we have here, how can marketers think about the difference between travel searches on YouTube and Google.com?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's also something we get asked a lot. What's the difference of consumer behavior on main Google.com versus YouTube.com, especially when YouTube.com is the second largest search engine after Google? We published our first white paper on travel content on YouTube last year, which showed that over 70% of travel searches happening on YouTube.com are for destination names. So these searches have destinations in the search itself. When we look at Google.com, 58% of travel searches are for specific brands or companies. The portfolio of searches is much more diversified and less focused on destinations, which suggests that YouTube is a great platform for upper funnel engagement. It's where people go to dream. Visitors there are less decided about what they want to do and are actually looking to be educated, inspired, or entertained. It's a great place for marketers to be to make sure they're capturing the user early.
Okay, and we have time for just one more question. Wearables seem to be the future. Are there any travel brands doing it well already, or is this too far out?
That's a good question. We actually think it's very interesting, all the different brands that are starting to experiment with wearables, especially smartwatches and even Google Glass. We've seen a lot of hotels release apps as well as airlines. A really interesting one I saw is from IHG. They have a new app that serves as a translator on your smartwatch while you're traveling. So it makes it a lot less obtrusive than if you're constantly looking things up to figure out what to say when you travel to a different country.
Actually, TripAdvisor, too, is also doing some interesting things on this front. They just announced the launch of the TripAdvisor Apple Watch app. It has features designed specifically for the new Apple Watch, like providing access to TripAdvisor traveler reviews, ratings, and photos of hotels, restaurants, and attractions. So, for example, I knew in the TripAdvisor app will automatically find the highest rated restaurant near your current location because it knows where you are and suggest the place to go to for lunch. We think this is breakthrough for the industry because now travelers can essentially carry the insights of millions of travelers on their wrists. Seems like a lot of brands are first movers in the wearable area.
Okay, that's really great. Again, thank you, Jenna and Ting for the exceptional presentation you guys put on. That's the end of our webinar. So thank you to everyone again who came by, checked it out. For any other questions, feel free to reach out to Jenna and Ting at their Google emails below. Thank you and have a great rest of the day.